Good morning, everyone. This is our final full lesson, but before we get into it, I want to thank you all so much for sending us your videos. I've absolutely loved watching them, not just the videos that are a little bit more performance-like, but the ones of you practicing so seriously and so hard and so well. It's extremely encouraging, so thank you so much for sending them in. So, tomorrow is Thursday, and that's the day that we asked you to submit videos of yourself playing however much of the Salut demeanour you have learned. And in honour of that fact, I thought I would speak to you today about performance. We've been talking a lot about work, a lot about practice, a lot about routine. How about that moment when you actually have to share it with someone? Obviously, in this circumstance, it is in the form of a film. If we were in another environment, it would be with actual people sitting in front of us. So we have to start to look at the camera as if it is an audience and work out all the things that we need to do to prepare for that, almost like it's a performance, like it's a concert. So we get used to that process. So I thought the best thing I could do would be to give you 10 top tips for performing. Tip number 1 is to prepare physically and mentally in enough time. The number of times I have been around young musicians who just before they have to play something through are running around all over the place. They're doing this, they're doing that, they're thinking this, they're thinking that. They've not actually concentrated for a moment and thought through all the things that you need to do and you need to consider in order to feel prepared and make it through the piece from beginning to end in the most concentrated fashion. So you want to prepare as early as possible. I would say that if you were going to be playing through at 11, so your concert is at 11, you by 10:30 want to be totally ready. You're wearing what you're going to wear. You are warm. Everything just feels like if you had to play now, you could, but you've got another half an hour to get your brain in the right space and to get your physicality in the right space. So point number 2 is about your mental state. It is so important to be prioritizing the right things and not distracted by the wrong things. So those right things, of course, would be the fullest line possible so that you feel from beginning to end of what you're playing and that you have a very clear story to tell. Now, a really good bit of advice I'd like to share with you is to simplify the things that you tell yourself before you have to play something through to extremely clear ideas that are linked to a feeling, that are linked to a sentence. So the sentence could be something like, this piece is full of sweetness. And to that, you link it to the way you pick up your violin and you put a certain smile on your face or a certain feeling comes over you. So you link these things together. A second sentence could be, I don't care what goes wrong, or mistakes are okay, I'm going to keep going, or the sound and the story is the most important thing. Something really simple. So you've got to write down these couple of things that you think, and then in that half hour before you play something through, you just go through those things in a very calm state so you get familiar with that as being the priority in your mind. And it will, I promise you, help you when you go to do your little concert for us stroke for the camera. Okay, so the third thing is that your whole demeanour when you're playing is so incredibly vital, that you've taken care of that and you don't think somehow that because you're making sound through an instrument that you're invisible. You're not invisible. We can all see you, and that matters. The number of times I feel like I've actually played pretty well, but if I've looked back at a video of myself playing, all I see is somebody who looks terrified and worried and like they're not going for it at all. How you present your whole demeanour is so important. If you look worried or scared or bored or distracted or annoyed, that's what we are going to sense. If you seem frustrated, we'll also be frustrated with you. So you have to be in a whole state that seems like you're rising above everything, and we will rise above it with you. Number 4, the first note matters. Now, that is not to say that you should put a huge amount of pressure on that first note, and then if it doesn't go right, you get disappointed and distracted. No, that's not the point. But you want to do everything you possibly can to have that first note just bloom and sing and be as sweet and as singing and as beautiful as you possibly can. So I would try to stay in a fluid sort of state, so you don't let tension build up before that first note. You're really taking care of your breathing, you're taking care of how you're standing, how you're grounded, and no matter what happens, after you've played that first note, you keep looking forward and you keep marching on regardless. Number 5 is to keep a sense of humor. Now, I don't want you to mistake that as me saying, oh, it doesn't matter, it's not that important. Of course it's important, and how you play, how you approach your instrument is unbelievably important. Why is it important? Because doing things well just matters. It just does. If you don't agree with that, then you could draw into question a huge amount of what you do in your life, but I believe that doing things well does matter. That said, this point is about keeping a sense of humor. You have to keep perspective, otherwise you put too much pressure on yourself and you end up playing worse. You don't play better. Number 6, make sure, that's 6 by the way, number 6 is to make sure that you are physically warm. Now, this might not be something that impacts as many people as it does me. I have to be warm before I play, or I really have a tough time on stage. And I do all kinds of things to get warm. I sometimes put my hands in warm water. I am also known to, when I'm on tour, carry a hairdryer with me because I never trust that dressing rooms are going to be warm. Obviously, what you're wearing, just try to make sure that not just your hands or the tips of your fingers, but everything from your arms downwards is just really nice and warm, and therefore they feel strong. Pay attention to what you're deciding to wear and make sure that what you're wearing is not distracting and is comfortable. I have had enough disaster stories in my life of things I've chosen to wear for concerts not necessarily being any of these things, so they were very distracting and things did go wrong. You don't want to have that experience, so test things out beforehand. Number 8, try to feel like you are communicating something to me, to us, like you're really telling us something. And it's not going to be in a pressured way, but you've got to do it in a way that's kind of like you're sort of gifting us something, you're giving us something. It's an offering that we can choose to receive in any way we want, but you've got to open yourself up. It's a little bit of a vulnerable feeling. It doesn't feel completely safe, but I don't think music should feel completely safe. So try to just let go of a bit of that fear, open yourself up and try to give something. Point 9 is considering balancing freedom and focus. And it's one of the beauties of playing really difficult music and playing instruments that are really difficult, to have that moment of trying to do something really seriously and trying to do something really well, but at the same time feeling like, actually, I'm just creating something and it's okay if it goes in this direction or that direction, if I do this or that. So just take a second to think about what it feels like to balance focus and freedom. And number 10, finally, is that the whole presentation matters. So for these videos, we want you to think about how you begin. We want to think about how you end. We want you to think about acknowledging who's listening to you. You don't have to say anything, but when you finish playing, don't like just start immediately fussing with your music or putting the instrument down. Just take a second. You can even smile at us if you want, but just acknowledge your surroundings. That also applies to the direction that you're playing at. The number of people that I see come on stage and play in a way like you're wishing we weren't there. And for an audience member, that doesn't feel very nice. You want to feel like you're actually welcome and that the person that is talking to you, the person that is singing for you, the person that is playing for you is actually happy that you're there. So consider where you're facing, and this can apply to the film as well. So where have you set it up and how are you playing in relation to that film? And are you doing it in a way that the sound is directed towards the camera? Are you doing it in a way that is, you know, just makes us feel welcome? So consider everything about that presentation. So Thursday's lesson will actually be a play along. We'll do both the D major and E major versions. I'm not exactly sure how we'll structure it. We might play it a couple of times, but that is for anybody and everybody to join in. Thursday also will be the day that we are accepting your videos. We're going to watch all of them. I can't wait to see what you've all been up to. And on Sunday at 5 p.m, we will be announcing the winner of the video competition, and we'll be sharing that video with everybody. So I really look forward to the next couple of days. I look forward to hearing what you've all been doing. Thank you so much for everything you've sent us so far. It's been just wonderful to see, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, guys.